Hey everybody, this is Rob Gauthier. Welcome to the ET Whisper. I wanted to talk about the top few questions that we always get here at ET Whisper. I've done a video like this a long time ago, but that was just when I was channeling Treb, so it's time for a nice little update. A lot of things have changed energetically since 2 or 3 years ago. So one of the very first questions is, how do you know channeling's safe? And first of all, if you're new to ET Whisper, we should probably go over what channeling is. When you watch the other videos, you see me speaking, but it's in a much different voice, and my eyes are closed. And sometimes when Treb's there, the body's there, and it's going crazy. And there's a lot of different things being talked about, a lot of different voices. So that seems weird. But what it is during a meditative state, I connect to these different beings like a psychic does, or like you've heard the word channel, a dead spirit or a spirit. I'm doing that, but I'm connecting to these extraterrestrial consciousnesses. So that is what channeling is. Now, a lot of people ask, how do I know channeling's safe? Now, if I believe everything that I've been taught by Treb and Aridif, and not just them, by other channeled sources and other non-channeled sources, that you create your own reality, even going into some very scientific stuff when you deal with the observer effect, watching how the observation of human causes a different probability scan, and all of these different great scientific backing up of this channel material, what you learn is you create your own reality with your thought. We're in this matrix style thing where your consciousness is the driving motivator behind the physical body, which projects out into this beautiful universe, and I do believe that very strongly. So what that means is I create every scenario around me. And what creates that scenario around me? Well, something that makes sense. Aridif and Treb have talked about a formula. If you pretend that your life is a computer program, you have the outside capability of your computer program. For instance, if you're making a program that edits video, then the only thing that you can do with that program is mess with video stuff, right? So you have this outside box that nothing can ever get outside of, and that is your belief system. So everything you believe is what you can have in your reality. Now the first question is, well, I don't believe in something that happened to me, and it came through anyway. So how could something that happened to me that I didn't believe was possible still happen? That's a little tricky of a question, but the short answer is because the belief you had was only a partial belief. Even if it's 95.5%, there's still a percentage of you that says, hey, it's possible that something outside of this can happen. Some people don't believe in UFOs. They say extraterrestrials might not be real. Most likely, 99.9%. That still gives you the 0.1% for it to come into your reality. So you're investing this belief, and that is the exterior bonds of your programming. Nothing can go outside of that. Well, how do you determine what goes in? How do you determine what comes back to you? That's your thoughts. Your thought is the code that you put into your program. You want something new to happen, you got to put new code in. Now, when you start acting on your beliefs and thoughts, like excitement is the biggest motivator. When you're really excited about something and you act on that excitement, it's just like hitting the enter key. After you put in all that code, you hit enter and it puts it into play. So that's really how reality works. And I know in my own heart that I'm only going to connect to consciousnesses or beings that are vibrationally matching me. That means I'm going to connect to beings who I want, that have open hearts, that want to expand, that want to teach others truth, that want to teach others about the universe and how it works. So I cannot connect to something bad. And I have 100% belief invested in that belief. And it's because I've experienced people who say, I've been possessed, or they've always had a really strong belief that it was possible. And that's why they experience. I can be mind controlled. So they experience that. I don't believe that can happen. I believe that I'm such a good creator of my reality, just like each and every one of you are, that if I believe something with all my heart, it's not possible for something outside of that to happen. Now, a lot of people say, well, I believed my family member was going to live when they were sick. But again, there's that doubt that you have in you. That part of you that says, oh, I want them to be okay, and I'm trying to fool myself that they're going to be okay, a lot like I did when my dad passed, and then boom. So you have to be honest with yourself, okay? And that's the reality. If you create your own reality and you vibrationally only want what's connected to you, then you're going to get what's connected to you. So that answers that. Another question that we get all the time is, why is Treb so weird? Why does he always have this gigantic smile and go, yes, at the top of his lungs and bounce around and move? Treb's energy when I first started channeling him was not like that. It was a lot more subtle and more calm, but I just started channeling. The first being I ever channeled was Treb. The first connection I ever had was Treb. So I had to build this connection to him. Once I built that connection through him, he started coming through me more of how I experienced him. How I experienced him was this gigantic ball of love and excitement that was able to share information from a very heart-centered place. Treb is a fifth density being. And what that means is he's in a part of evolution where he's mastering wisdom. But what he just got done mastering in the fourth density, not him himself, but his whole race, was love. So he's a complete 100% master of open heart love, and he shows that. He's an excited being. When he shares through me, that's his number one excitement to share. It looks ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous, but that's how he's approached. Aridif, not a lot of questions about him. Some people say he's kind of a hard ass, does he really have that capacity for love? Well, he's mastered love and wisdom. Now, the reason I think that Aridif and Treb come through me differently, first of all, they're different beings altogether. Just like if you meet two twins who are total opposite, they're going to be different. And the way they express their words, their personalities, their emotions will always be different. That's what's happening. When I'm connecting to these beings, yes, I myself have an energy that's present. Even though I'm a trance channeler, so I'm going all the way out, I don't remember what's going on. I don't recall what's being said. I still have a part of my energy there, so yes, it does. And that's why you hear some same terms or verbiage. They have to use my brain for English, but they come through so differently because they're two different energies. They're two different complete beings. And Aridif is very to the point. He's very stout and very large in his energy. But what makes a lot of people laugh is when they find out that this really big hard ass, this really big straight shooter to the point guy is only 3'9", little blue, petite, long purple hair, big purple eyes being, while Treb is a gigantic reptilian human hybrid that's 7.5 feet, that's got big teeth, big feet. So Treb comes out so adorable and loving, and Aridif comes through so stiff. But their physical appearances, if you looked at them without ever knowing who they were, you would have that stern feeling from Treb and that lighthearted, crazy feeling from Aridif. So it's just a different expression. If you see me channel all these different beings as you go through my work, you'll see that each one of them has a different body language. Each one of them has a different way they hold my body, the way they speak through my body. And because I'm in such a deep trance, it gives them more access to my body and my energy. So it's expressed much differently. And that's kind of why Treb's kind of weird and Aridif's different. Each being that I ever channel is different. So that's why. Another question is, why do you guys do free things and why do you do paid things? Obviously, this is my full-time work. And this is something, even to this day, I still have a little discomfort speaking with. So I'm going to try to get through this in the most least uncomfortable way, if that makes sense. I do this for a living. I used to do it for free for 2 years. I never charged a penny. Did all the readings for free. As I did that, I started getting more and more people to ask me. I used to go from 1 or 2 hours a day helping people to 8, 9 hours a day. Plus, I was doing my day job. Plus, I was also meditating several hours per day. So my day became full of just channeling, doing my day job, meditating, taking care of my son. My son has a lot of special needs, severely handicapped. He can't walk, talk. I have to feed him, bathe him, diaper him. He's in a wheelchair. I mean, the full shebang. So I was doing that, taking care of kids, and channeling and meditating on the little bit of off time that I did get. Finally, I got to this part in my life where I said, am I going to channel for people, or am I going to stop? Because I cannot keep doing my day job in this. So I decided, because I wanted this information to be out so bad, because I wanted what information came out to get to people, I wanted to do this full time. That required me to quit my day job. I am a human. I live in a system with finances, with money. I have bills. A lot of people say, well, you charge money. When you do private sessions, you charge a lot. Well, when it comes down to it, the energy and time I spend in that is exchanged in a very fair way, because we end up doing more free work and spend more time on advertising events and giving out free work than we do in private session arenas. And when we do that, we end up making enough money to keep this work perpetuated. And I'm not rich by all, and I know I shouldn't say that because your vibration of what you say and how you are, but I'm not rich. Me and my fiance partner, Kalina Angell, and my son, we live in a very small apartment. We drive an old minivan that's big enough to carry my son's wheelchair. We make money, we do events, we travel to where we need to, and what money we make on the private sessions and the events pay for us, me and Kalina, my son, to live, and for us to perpetuate the work. We've got the new fancy backdrops, the lights, the microphone, the camera, all that stuff is paid for this. But it wasn't just so we can have it. I wouldn't need a fancy microphone and a camera and these lights and the backdrop if I wasn't sharing this information. But instead of seeing me on a very fuzzy webcam with cruddy sound, I want you guys to get the best of this experience. I want it to be as clear and as concise as I can. And that's why we charge. And we charge because it is hard. It's an energy. Me and Kalina both put in more hours per week than we ever would at a part-time job or even a full-time job that makes minimum wage. So we put a lot of energy into this. And we also put out so much free work because we understand there are people who can't afford the prices that we want for sessions. That's why we do once a month webinars for $18. Most people I know can afford $18 in 1 month if they save up, if they put their money together. And even when they don't, we always release the webinars afterwards so people can still see. We literally have hundreds of free hours of videos out there on YouTube right now. One of the highest amount of free information of any channelers who I've ever met. Even people who've been doing it 20, 30 years, we still have more stuff out there. And we do that because we want people to have access. Now, there's an exchange for that too. When you don't pay for a session, you've got to dig through all those hours. So there is always an exchange. And I don't want to shorthand the idea, but I do want to let people know we put time, energy, and effort, and we do it not just for our benefit, but for your guys' benefit too. Our hearts are really into helping people, and we really want to do that. And we've done a lot of free work. Even when we said we're not going to do free work, we still do free work. We've still done free work. So we always try to make that a balance. Everybody's got to live, so that's my uncomfortable part of this talk. Another question is, I go to get a session and your calendar's always booked up. Why is that? Well, I can only channel X amount of times per day. I have my son, I told you he's very handicapped, so I get him 2 weeks out of each month, which means for 2 weeks out of each month, I can only do one session per day, and it's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after he goes to bed. That's hard for people who live over there in Europe or Australia or Asia or Africa. It's hard for those people to be able to sync up with me for 2 weeks out of each month. But when we were doing daytime sessions, he would come home from school with seizures or something like that, and we would have to cancel, and it became very, very difficult to keep up with people and to keep them in a shorter waiting period. But when he's not there, then I open myself up for the maximum amount of time that I can channel per day without wearing out my body. As most of you know, I'm overweight. I'm working on my physical health. I'm exercising, eating better, doing things that I should. But since I am overweight, this energy, pulling all that energy through me, is very taxing. So I'm only really able to channel 2 times a day, 90 minutes each maximum. There are times where I've channeled 4 or 5, 6 hours in a day when I'm doing these long workshops like our Asheville, North Carolina workshop where we do 3 days and I channel 4 or 5 hours each day plus do sessions privately afterwards. Those types of day. But at the end of those 3 days, I get to take a break, go home, and not work for another week. And it takes me that whole time to recuperate. So there's only 2 times per day I can channel when my son's not here, and 1 time when I do. And when he's not here, we have to shut down for several days to do these videos, to get out editing, which anyone who's ever done professional video editing, it is difficult. And one 15-minute video can take you a day and a half sometimes. So it's a very long process, and we do a lot of work in that, and we're trying to make it more available. But the time slots we have are the earliest I can start channeling, which would be like noon to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then we have the 9 p.m. sessions for those who can do the later nights and for people on the West Coast, which is where a lot of our people come from. So, all right, now another question, and this will be the last for today, and we'll get into more questions later. The last question that we'll take today that we get is, you guys have seen me and Kalina. A lot of times you've heard about the Arcturian 103. So a lot of people are like, where's Kalina's channeling? When can I get a hold of her channeling? The answer is she is working on getting that out as we speak. She is very telepathically connected to the Arcturian 103 collective. She is doing written channeling right now and telepathic direct connections right now. Just like it's weird because I started out with trance channeling. Now I can hear Treb or Aridif coming through me while I'm lucid and while I'm awake. She started out with that lucid and awake thing and is working now on her more trance style channeling. So she is sharing as it comes through her. A lot of it's written on her Facebook. So if you want to see her channeling, go to her Facebook page, join her, add her as a friend, and you'll see more and more of the Arcturian channeling, and she will be starting her YouTube channel very soon. If you're listening to this 8 months after it's posted, go look up Kalina Angell Arcturian 103 Collective on YouTube and you'll find it somewhere, I promise. All right, guys, I love you guys so much. If there's any questions that you have, go to our website, the About Us, our mission, all of the information there on the About Us tab. This will give you a lot of answers. If none of those are answered, feel free to call in. We're trying to get it set back up where our first of the month is a call-in show where you can ask Treb or Aridif questions for free for people who can't afford, for people who want to see what that experience is like. Check in with that. If not, then just write us an email. And sometimes it takes us a while to get back, but we try to get back to everybody. Myself or Kalina, both of our emails are on the website. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys so much. We'll see you later.